This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and it's Smackdown time again. We have two hot tablets here, Microsoft Surface Pro 4 and the new Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro S. Both of these run Windows. Both of these have stunning high-resolution displays. They're approximately 12 inches in size. They're fairly close in weight. The Galaxy is the lighter one, and even the starting price is the same, $899. So how do you choose? We're going to find out now. Here we have two lovely premium tablets, and I think the ducks in the water say it all about that Super AMOLED display on the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro S on the left. It's AMOLED, folks. It's going to be striking. It's going to have color saturation, but you see what it just did right there? There's the drawback. To avoid AMOLED burn-in, that has an automatic screen dimmer that comes on at 1 minute, and it varies the amount of dimness, actually. So there's a few little challenges there with Super AMOLED, but as long as you keep scrolling and moving and all that sort of thing, it won't happen. You can actually extend that to 2 minutes if you want to. Both of these are 12-inch class tablets. Now, the Surface Pro 4 is a little bit bigger, 12.3 inches versus straight 12 inches on the Galaxy. They both have 2:3 aspect ratio displays, which is a real sweet spot for a tablet, especially because you sometimes might actually want to hold them in portrait mode, and you don't want to have it looking like a long, tall, skinny column. The resolution on the Galaxy is the same as the last-gen Surface Pro 3. The Surface Pro 4 actually has a higher resolution and slightly higher pixel density. Surface Pro 4 is 2736 by 1824 pixels. Again, that's IPS, what they call Pixel Sense display with Gorilla Glass 4, 267 ppi. The Galaxy is slightly smaller, so the ppi is not that much lower, but it's 2160 by 1440 resolution. Both of these, in theory, support a pen. I say in theory because, of course, with Surface Pro 4, it comes with the pen in the box using N-Trig technology, which is a pretty good pen technology, even if you want to use it for art, which is more demanding than note-taking. The Galaxy Tab's pen is delayed. It was supposed to have been out around the same time as the tablet in the United States, but it's going to be out by the end of this quarter, they say now, which means by the end of June 2016. So if the pen is important to you, I always say don't bet on future technology, folks, because we don't know how good the pen's going to be. It looks like it's going to be pretty decent, a fat pen, maybe a little chunky, Bluetooth-based, but how it'll be for art, I don't know. I'm sure it'll probably be fine for note-taking. But if you need a pen right now, Surface Pro 4 is the way to go. Now, this might seem like an odd discussion to have about which of these is more of a laptop replacement. Surface Pro 4, if you're looking for something that's a laptop first, believe it or not, yes, it has that interesting design. We have the flappy keyboard here that detaches and all that sort of thing, but Microsoft did a really good job. The latest generation type cover is a pleasure to type on, and you have island-style keys, good separation. Not exactly a huge trackpad, but it's a very good glass trackpad. And it extends beyond that. It's also, if you need this to be your perhaps main machine, the Surface Pro 4 starts out with the same Core M3 and 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gig SSD as the Galaxy Tab Pro S. But going up from there, you can get it with a Core i5, a Core i7, even a Core i7 with Intel Iris graphics. Anything from 4 gigs of RAM on up, you can get with 8 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig PCIe SSD, for example. So as something that has enough horsepower to do all sorts of stuff, it would be the better choice. Now, that does depend on your needs, too. If you're just going to be doing web, email, social networking, streaming video, then honestly, the Core M3 in either the Galaxy or the base model Surface Pro 4 will be just fine. But for those of you who need to do more heavy lifting, you're editing 1080p video, you're compiling programs that are comprised of 100,000 lines of code, for example, or you're attempting to do some light CAD work, I would certainly want to pick a Core i5 or Core i7 over an M3 CPU. Next in laptopiness is ports, and you know, Surface Pro 4 is pretty port constrained, but believe it or not, it's actually going to be the winner again here. Well, you know, that depends on how you call it, but we'll get into that. It has a USB 3.0 port, your everyday normal USB port. It has a mini display port, so it can draw out monitors, including higher resolution like 4K displays, and a headphone jack. The Galaxy has just a single USB-C 3.1 port, like the 12-inch MacBook. That also handles charging. So right there, you're in a little bit of a canoodle, aren't you? You're going to have to find some kind of splitter that supports charging in while using peripherals. Now, Samsung has a dongle adapter that should have regular USB 3.0 port display out and charging in, perhaps even Ethernet, but that's also not available yet in the United States. We haven't seen it. Now you can use other adapters. We're just starting to see USB-C adapters for DisplayPort, for HDMI, for Ethernet, that sort of thing. Getting one that does charging is going to be a challenge. That's the whole problem with USB-C right now. It's hard to find stuff for it, especially multi-function ports. The Dell USB-C 3.1 adapter is not working so nicely these days with the Samsung, unfortunately. That would be an easy to find, relatively speaking, multi-function dongle adapter. So yes, it's forward-looking and that's cool and all that sort of thing, but if you need to hit the ground running right now for something that you do need to connect a bunch of peripherals to, the Surface Pro 4 has the advantage. Plus, they have their $199 docking station that adds a slew more of USB 3.0 ports, HDMI, DisplayPort, and Ethernet. So again, as a desktop replacement, the Surface Pro 4 wins there. Now, how about portability? Both of these are really, really portable, but the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro S, again, is the more portable, more tablet-like device. The cover is included, the keyboard cover with the smart connector, and it wraps around the back, which is quite nice too. But this Surface, they don't do that because, well, there's that flip kickstand there that they would be blocking. The tablet is lighter and thinner. It looks, when you take it off of this cover, like I said, a lot more like an iPad. It's pretty easy to hold, honestly, and to use just like that. Surface Pro 4 is a bit more of a handful. It's a bit thicker. Also, if you get one with the Core i5 or Core i7, it's going to have a fan inside, so you'll hear it occasionally making noise, that Surface Pro 4. If you get the Core M3, just like the Galaxy has, it will be silent. Neither of these gets burning hot to the touch, but if you get into the Core i7 and you're working that Surface Pro 4 hard, you will feel it start to get hot in this area here. Not burning hot, sorry, this area here actually. In terms of build quality, they both feel like premium products, despite the fact that Samsung actually has a polycarbonate bag. It's available in your choice of black, which is really a blue black, or white. It's still really very nice looking. Shows fingerprints a little bit, not bad. Just really good metal edges on here. Bezels are not too fat. You've got to have some bezels with the tablet, though, because it has to be a way that you can hold on to it. So they're both really very nice there. I would say they both pass for premium-looking products. Battery life? Well, the Samsung has a smaller battery, but that's also in part because the Surface Pro 4 has to accommodate the faster CPUs, the Core i5, the Core i7, and all that sort of thing. But even if we're looking at the Core M3 model for both of these, the Samsung actually has surprisingly long battery life, relatively speaking. The Surface Pro 4 is a 6 to 6.5 hour machine. The Galaxy Tab Pro S is more like a 7 to 8. You could even maybe stretch it out to 8.5 with some pretty strong power management there. So that's getting up there closer to mobile OS tablet runtimes. It is the Energizer Bunny among Windows 2-in-1 separables. Also, another thing to note is that the keyboard is included. A lot of people complain about the Surface Pro having to buy the $130 keyboard separately. Of course, you do get the pen, whereas with the Samsung, you don't get the pen, but the pens tend to be less expensive, 50 or 60 bucks, versus the keyboards that are, generally speaking, over $100. So you are ready to hit the road running for $899 here, unless you need the pen with the Samsung, whereas with the Surface, you've got to add on, okay, you got your $900 Core M3 model, plus another $130 there. So you're looking at $1,030, and of course it gets considerably more expensive as you go for the Core i5 and Core i7 models. So there you have it, Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro S versus Microsoft Surface Pro 4. And like I said, it's a funny comparison where you say one is a lot more like a laptop than the other, which would be Surface Pro 4. Because it's available with Core i5 and i7 CPUs, for those of you who need to use this as a main machine and need more horsepower, and also the better keyboard overall, though some people might have arguments about the ergonomics of the two different ways of propping it up and so on. Anyway, they're both really nice products, and if you're looking for something that's more tablet-oriented, I would say it's going to be the Galaxy Tab Pro S. It's less expensive. It has a stunning AMOLED display. But if you need something to be your main PC, it's closer bet that Surface Pro 4 is going to be it. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to watch our video reviews of each of these products and read our written reviews, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos.